Hey everyone, welcome to the course, and in this lecture we will learn how we can develop our own SOAP API, or we can say that our own SOAP services. So in our previous lecture or previous sections we learned how we can enable an Apex class to work as Apex REST services. Now in this lecture we will learn how we can enable our class which will act as SOAP service. So for both either Apex REST or SOAP services, class annotation, or we can say that class modifier, must be global. And then for SOAP services, the method structure which should be like web service static. These are the keyword that will always be there against a method name which we wanted to work as a web service. And then this is a return type which you can change. This might be an string or some other data type, or if you don't want to return anything you can put as void, and then the name of your method here. So on that note, let's quickly start building our web service here. So we are here inside our Salesforce environment, and we have a very basic web service written for you so that we can see what we have here and then how to test that web service using Workbench testing tool here. Before we go ahead, we have guest user credentials on your screen which you can use to log in here in this system, and then you can get the code whatever we are having throughout the session here. Now what we did is we created a class which is saying that global class, that is account planner, and inside that class we have a very simple method that is web service static. That's what we discussed. The return type of that method is string because I wanted to return a greeting message to the user whatever the parameters we are getting inside that method. So you can see here we have got two parameters. One is first name and another one is last name. So what we are returning here is whatever the information we will be getting from the third party, we are saying that welcome, the full name of that particular user, whatever the user is sending here throughout the web service. So now to call this, how we can test this in our Workbench. So this is a simple body that should be used because this is a SOAP service, and we discussed that SOAP will always accept XML as input or response request for our service here. That's why we are using XML. What will be the URL? How URL will look like? So it will look like services, and then here instead of Apex REST, if we compare with our Apex REST, what it was like services, and then it was Apex REST, and then we are saying that whatever our class is, and then we are sending like the URL of our web service that we are providing inside on the top of our class URL mapping. The URL look like this. But for SOAP services, the URL will like this. Services again will be same. Which service we wanted to consume, that is SOAP, and then again we wanted to use a class here. That's why we are saying that class. If you have a namespace here, again after class there will be a namespace for Apex REST as well, and then the name of your class. Here it is the URL that is we are defining on top of URL mapping, but here it will be name of our class. So if we get back to our Workbench here, you can see here we have got the same URL which we are saying that services, then we are saying that SOAP. So the main thing that here to notice is the S of SOAP word should always be in caps, and then the class and the class name, whatever the class have that web service method. Now how the body will look like. As this is an XML body, on top of the body we need to define that it's an XML request. What the version of XML you are using here, either 1.1 or 1.2. So here we have got, and then encoding characters, what characters we are going to use here, we are going to use UTF-8, and then from here our body starts. So every SOAP body contains two things inside envelope. So envelope will be the topmost in our request body, and envelope will be containing two main things. One thing is the header, the SOAP header, which is actually used to contains the information, or we can say that used to contains the secured information for a user who is trying to consume our web service. Not our web service, the web service that might be outside of Salesforce environment, a third party web service as well, that we will also see in coming lectures. So that's why here we have SOAP header, and inside SOAP header we mainly use either username and password. We can send some session headers where we can send some unique session ID in case of Salesforce. And then we have SOAP body, and this body contains what method we wanted to consume, and under that method what are the parameters that we wanted to send, that SOAP body contains. Now let's discuss about SOAP header. In SOAP header you can see that we have got SOAP header, and then we are using session header, and under that session header we are passing session ID. One thing that you will notice that here we are using the word that is my name Amit, from where this word is coming. So on top of your line number 8, if you see, first we are defining XML namespace envelope, that will be same for all the requests. Then we are defining XML namespace and the namespace that we wanted to give us. Here this is a arbitrary choice. You can use you can put based on your choice that you want, and then URL up to here will be same. That means it will always be soap.spose.com schemas and class. If you have some namespace, please don't forget to provide here namespace and then the name of your class. And this is the word we need to use throughout our request, what we are sending here. So if you see here, we are sending for the session headers, and this session ID we are from where we will get, I will quickly explain you. And then we have again SOAP envelope body, and under that body if you see here again we are using the same word that we put in our XML namespace schema. So how this works, what is this? First thing that we will put inside our SOAP body is the method that we wanted to consume. So the name of our method, so it will be namespace, the namespace that we are defining on top of that, not the Salesforce org namespace. That will be full name. If you see here, the name of our method is full name. Now as we all know that XML always have an opening and closing element, that's why we are opening and then we are closing. Now as this method contains, or this method accepts two parameters, we are sending like first name and last name. Again we have to use the namespace and the name of our parameter, namespace and name of our parameter. Here you can provide what value we wanted to send here, like Amit Singh. So this is how you can construct your XML body whenever you are developing your own Apex SOAP services here. Now there is one thing, that header part is also there. So let me quickly copy here and paste it here as well. So while sending some request to the system, we definitely need to tell what kind of response we are sending, what kind of response it is going to, what kind of input it is going to accept, and what is the SOAP action. So whenever we will be consuming third-party API, we will definitely be defining what SOAP action is. But in case of Salesforce, we just need to provide a SOAP action as an header and then a blank value here. And then if you see here, content type is always text by XML. Why we are putting this? Because we know that SOAP always accepts XML as a response and request format. That's why we are using here both for content type and for accepting what kind of response it is going to accept, or what kind of request it is going to send to the system. That's why we need to make sure that we are changing the headers before making our request. Now if we get back to our Workbench, again we went to utilities, REST Explorer, we changed the URL, that what we discussed, we changed the header by clicking on this button. If the headers are not visible, this will look like this. You just need to click on headers and you will see your headers will be visible here. And this is our body that we just prepared and that we just discussed. Now let me give it a room for you. It will be more visible. You can see here. We are doing the same thing here that we just discussed. Now how we will get this session ID? So as in Salesforce, due to the security reason, you cannot print a session ID either in an Apex class or in anywhere you cannot print. So to get the session ID, create a Visual Force page, put this single line of code which is $API.session_ID. and you just need to give it a name, whatever the name you want to give. Preview that web page, and you will be here inside your preview page of your web page, and you will get the session ID of your logged in user by which you are logged in into Salesforce in a moment. Now, as this is my even recent session ID that I just that I'm using here, so it should be giving me the correct result, but even I'm going to copy and paste it just to show you that this is the session ID which is working for us. So now let's quickly copy this here, and even so if you are thinking that what if we are consuming this web service outside of Salesforce, then this session ID will be replaced with the access token that we might get by following either auth 2.0 web server flow or auth 2.0 password username and password flow. So here you can follow your access token, and before this you must need to provide your instance URL. In our case, the instance URL is this. Now let's quickly try to hit, and we will see what we are getting here. We just need to wait, and boom, you can see here we are getting 200 response code, that is okay. And in the response section, which is an XML body, we can see here in the full name response we are getting a result, and that result contains welcome Amit and Amit. Why it is containing Amit and Amit twice? Because in the request we are sending Amit twice, both for first name and last name. If we again hit, we will be getting the correct result. Now you can see here, now we are getting the correct result, and then we can parse using XML parser, XML DOM parser that is available in Salesforce, and we can quickly get what the response a third party is giving to us. So this is how you can quickly create a SOAP REST services for you, and in the next lecture we will learn how we can use a wrapper class in this SOAP services as well. Thank you.